What is the worst thing that can happen to you in sales writing when you create a value proposition? You have a really nice idea for one of your current or ex or potentially new clients, and you send off that email to them. It's not rejection. The worst thing that can happen to you in sales writing when you try to sell via email is not rejection at all. It's a thing called continuation. Continuation is basically silence. Continuation is much worse than rejection, because if you have a sales pitch, you've done your email and you get a rejection, that's okay. You can move on. You can do other things. But if there is silence, you don't know if the email was received, if they're thinking about it, if that silence implies rejection. What does it mean? The typical mistake that lawyers make in this situation is to accept continuation. You must never accept continuation. So what do? Well, after a reasonable period of time, you could send a second email to check if they received the first one. But then what happens if they don't answer that? Well, if you're brave, you could do a warm call. If it's your current or ex-client, they know you, you could pick up the phone and call them to check if they got your email or not. It's up to you at your discretion. If you're sending a cold email to a potential new client, then this follow-up would be a cold call. Well, then what happens? They still don't answer you. The last thing that you can do in sales writing after your follow-up, so maybe you've sent one email, you've done a call, maybe you sent a second email, maybe you even did a second call. You do not give up. You do not accept continuation. The final thing that you do is a rather dramatically named email. It's called the nuclear option. In this case, you convert that continuation into a rejection, into a fire. You fire them. You don't fire them totally, saying that you'll never work with them again. You fire them regarding this value proposition. So you send them an email saying something like this. You can say, "Dear client, I reached out to you recently regarding such and such a value proposition, but unfortunately we couldn't reach each other. So rather than disturb you further, I'll let this drop for now. But if it becomes important for you in future, feel free to reach me on this email. Best regards." So what are you really saying here? You're sending an email letting the recipient know you're not going to chase them and you're not bluffing. You then let them go. And the onus is onto them to then come back to you. This nuclear option email quite often does provoke a response. Quite often people are not replying to you, not because it's a rejection, it's just because people don't like to make decisions. And so they're pondering and pondering and pondering and thinking. This makes them take a decision, because if they don't, they know that they're going to lose this opportunity. So what is the final outcome that we can take from this? Never accept continuation when you do sales writing. Do systematic follow-up. You should have a follow-up policy, but I bet your law firm doesn't even have one. Make one for yourself. How many follow-up emails, what period, how many warm calls. And in the end, you never accept continuation and you send a nuclear option email. Very nice, very polite, but you make it clear that you're not going to harass them or chase them further. This will increase your conversion, and it will also protect you and recipients from you becoming annoying. Because if you do not have a follow-up policy and you continue to call and email for weeks or longer, it will become annoying. So out of respect both for your time and the recipient's time, you should know when it's better to stop. You never accept continuation, but you do a nuclear option. If you have any thoughts about that, maybe it's a little bit controversial, you can see my contacts here. Feel free to email me at jjmcveigh@nixedonia.com. I'm happy to hear from you if you have any thoughts. If you have an example nuclear option email you'd like me to take a look at, I can give you some comments. That takes me a very little time. It's an idea for you. Okay, thank you very much.